This is David Kroodsma with Hub Culture, and I'm joined by Changhua Wu, the Greater China Director of the Climate Group. Changhua, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Can you tell me more about what the Climate Group is doing in China and your role there?
Sure. The Climate Group is a leadership-focused organization, international NGO. So we focus on government leadership as well as business leadership. So those are the two major focuses for the Climate Group. And of course, naturally, coming to China, we need to figure out who are the leaders and what the leadership looks like and what they are doing and which direction they're going. So two focuses for this organization in China. One is a business. And so we launched officially a program called Carbon Treasure, Chinese Corporate Carbon Strategy, literally a platform.
Carbon Treasure?
Treasure, yes.
Okay.
Turn out more in a more positive tone, working closely with the Chinese companies, particularly focusing on three sectors as starting point: supply chain, power, and financial institutions. To start with capacity building and also providing all the technical devices that they need to basically work with them to move things forward. And the second focus actually is local government, and particularly working at the city level. And today here in Cancun, we launched this morning, our third China's Clean Revolution report focusing on city low carbon development in China, which is an emerging trend and which is very exciting. But in the process, we identified the gap in terms of capacity. So all the Chinese cities and the provinces all developing, some of them released already low carbon growth plan, but in order to really execute those plans, to turn all the visions into reality, you started to see a big gap. So the second focus for the Climate Group is we are launching another platform called China Redesign. So literally this is a platform to work with the city managers, decision makers, trying to build up their capacity to execute the low carbon growth plan. And also in that process, by focusing on a few cities, some certain demonstration projects, and also to focus on public policy advocacy and financing mechanism, and also communicate the process and the outcome through the whole process. So those are the two major focuses we are doing now in China. And besides, of course, the public is another very important sector. So we created two major philanthropy-focused kind of public-facing platforms. One is Mainland Forest, and with a leading ambassador, with a leading Chinese actress Li Bingbing, and with Mr. Tony Blair, former UK Prime Minister, as kind of the two voices to champion. This is the kind of tree planting kind of initiative, but they only use that as a tool. More importantly, to educate people, basically take small actions. Actually, you can make a big impact towards tackling climate change.
We need China to be a leader on this issue because China produces the largest producer of greenhouse gases. However, China right now is burning about half of the world's coal, and last year stopped listing how much coal it's burning. How can China be a leader given those facts?
Well, actually, it depends on how you see it. The way I see it, China is already leader in terms of taking actions, paying attention to energy efficiency improvement, paying attention to clean energy development, and paying to a lot of issues around the low carbon future. So from that perspective, I think the international community need to acknowledge, recognize, and also acknowledge China's leadership. I think to a certain extent that's already been recognized. And even here, actually, in the last 2 days or 3 days, we've been hearing business leaders around the world and even some government officials from around the world talking very positively about China's efforts, achievements, and also looking into the 12th five-year plan, the future, the vision pretty much very, very clear already in terms of low carbon future for this country. So from that part, I think, China is already a leader, and so we need to recognize and acknowledge that. The fact that you recognize, you just pointed out as saying, China continues to burn coal and burn a lot, and in the meantime, of course, we emit a lot of greenhouse gases, which is a fact. That's exactly, the two things are not really totally separate. The reason why this country is taking the leadership, taking actions already, because we want to address that kind of issues. But this is not easy issue. Say, we all know actually burning coal is a bad thing, so let's just stop it and move on to something else. If things were really, really that easy, I think we were not really having the climate change challenges anymore. Things are complicated, particularly for China. This scale of the population, the scale of the economy, and the level of development is so imbalanced at this moment. Pretty much in China, we have the east coast we call like a very well-developed region. If you look at the middle part and the western part of the country, it's pretty much the poorest among the third world, least developed regions. So how do you figure out really the solution and trying to pull everything together to really achieve the goal of development. In the meantime, make sure we could continue to reduce the reliance on fossil fuels, particularly coal, and to develop substitutes, improve energy efficiency. So all those things actually China is already kind of in its mind and taking actions. As I said, it's not easy at all because of the size, because of the complexity of the issues China has to deal with. But what's encouraging is that, as I said, back to the 12th five-year plan, which is like in the last three days, everyone is using this term, the vision is very, very clear. Besides the actions already on the ground taken by the country, you started to see the clear political vision at the national level, and you started to see that's kind of trickled down to business level as well as to the local level. So gradually, I'm hoping this is a part of things we are trying to play a role, say, okay, let's really support to catalyze more actions, more like a bottom up as well, so support the country to translate the vision into reality as soon as possible and also at the scale we would like to see.
Great. Well, thank you, Changhua, so much.
Thank you.
I'm David Kroodsma with Hub Culture, joined by Changhua Wu, the Greater China Director of the Climate Group.